I don't know what to do. We tried everything, literally.
Baltimore mother at her wits' end, saying her teenage daughter is stealing cars while on home detention. Why, she says, the system is failing her child in an interview you'll only see on Fox 45.
Plus, the community still reeling after a 12-year-old is shot just outside Dunbar High School. A football game going on there. The impact some say it is having on the city as a whole.
And still no arrests in the Rachel Morin case, where the case stands right now and how the community is trying to move forward.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 5.
Fox 45 News is demanding accountability for juvenile crime across the state. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kai Jackson.
And I'm Mary Bubala. We're hearing firsthand remarks from one Baltimore mother and her daughter's role in juvenile crime.
I worry about my daughter not living till her birthday in December. I worry about my daughter every single day. It's taking our babies younger and younger, the streets. They need to start locking these kids up. They need to change the laws.
We're looking at the impact crime is having on the city.
And we will do that, but first we're seeing record-breaking temperatures out there today, near 100 degrees. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax here with when we will see some relief from this, Jasmine.
That's right. We have those record-breaking temperatures right now at Baltimore. We're seeing 99. However, the last hour we actually hit 100. And so today has been the hottest day of the year so far. We're even seeing 100 right now in Frederick. Now, this is only the 4th time in September that temperatures have reached 100 or higher. And tomorrow they could do the same thing. We're talking the upper 90s and possibly the low 100s. And then that hot trend continues on Wednesday. It's not until the weekend when our rain chances increase that we start to see those temperatures decline. So you want to make sure that you are practicing heat safety over the next several days. Coming up, I'll have a closer look at just how hot it will get in my Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
Jasmine, thank you. Scan the QR code on your screen to show us how you're keeping cool out there, whether it is spending time at the pool, in the sprinkler, or enjoying some ice cream. We want to see your pictures and your videos. The QR code will take you to our website, foxbaltimore.com/chime-in, where you can submit those photos or videos. You might see them on air or online.
Well, turning now to our other top stories. In a city in crisis, a community is shaken after a 12-year-old was shot during a Dunbar High School football game on Friday. Plus, a mother says her 14-year-old daughter is stealing cars while on home monitoring.
Our live team coverage begins with Mackenzie Frost and that mother's story you're seeing exclusively on Fox 45 today. Mackenzie?
Yeah, Mary and Kai, it's a very tough situation. This mother says that her 14-year-old daughter continues to steal cars without facing any real consequences. And now this mom says she wants something to change.
Every single day.
In East Baltimore,
It's like a setup for failure.
Ray comes outside to talk about her 14-year-old daughter.
I pray for her all night.
To protect her privacy, Ray doesn't want her last name shared or her face on camera.
I don't know how to put it in words.
But she wants her story to be heard.
So she started getting arrested. And when she get arrested, they let her know they can't do anything. They can't detain her. She's underage. She can't be charged, or whatever the case may be.
At 14, Ray's daughter is stealing cars in the city and beyond.
She got locked up in Towson, Catonsville, White Marsh. It's escalating.
In mid-August, Ray says her daughter was finally put on home monitoring, but the teen didn't stop stealing cars.
When she came home, she went out and stole a car that night and been getting arrested since on home detention. But she's been arrested ever since. On home detention, they still won't do nothing. They won't violate her. All we could do is keep making phone calls back and forth while the child is out committing crimes.
That last arrest,
She was just arrested again August the 30th.
landed her in the Juvenile Justice Center in Baltimore City. A hearing on September 1st. Now Ray's daughter in a Department of Juvenile Services facility.
I plead and I cried for them to arrest her and not to send her in the group home because I didn't think the group home was going to be effective. They be giving them a slap on the wrist.
But she worries it's not enough, and she says the laws are part of the reason.
They need to stop making excuses. They need to start locking these kids up. They need to change the laws.
And the precedent has been set.
When they're teenagers, they know what they're doing. They know right from wrong. I don't know what to do. We tried everything, literally.
Ray says the police department aren't helping her with her daughter, and DJS hasn't offered many solutions.
He's probably saying the same thing. A lot of times they just repeat.
But the court appearance notices, wow, and they come all the time,
Every day.
keep coming. And this Baltimore mom says she worries about what comes next for her daughter if lawmakers don't take a look at changing the laws surrounding juvenile justice.
I want my daughter somewhere I know where she at. I could go to sleep. At night, I'm worried. I be scared my daughter gonna get shot. I worry about my daughter not living till her birthday in December. I worry about my daughter every single day.
And you know, this isn't the first time we've heard from families who say they're frustrated with the current juvenile justice system. We know the Department of Juvenile Services says it is reviewing home monitoring the situation, but it's unclear when or if any changes will be made. We're live in the newsroom. Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
As Mackenzie just mentioned, this isn't the first time we've heard about problems when it comes to juveniles and ankle monitors. Two of the young people arrested in connection with the Brooklyn Day mass shooting were also wearing ankle monitors from the Department of Juvenile Services, a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old. Fox 45 News spoke with legal experts who say DJS needs to step up when it comes to monitoring teenagers in their system.
It has to be a 24-hour monitoring, 7 days a week. They have to respond if the child is absent or not compliant with the terms of GPS and from detention.
We are literally saying, what do we need to do more rapidly so that kids know right away, you cannot mess around with this. This is serious stuff. And so that's evolving.
Well, there have been a number of cases and crimes involving juveniles in Baltimore over the past few weeks. Last month, Fox 45 News obtained video of an 11-year-old being let out of handcuffs after allegedly stealing a car and crashing it. Police say he can't face any charges because of his age. In mid-August, 3 teens were arrested after allegedly shooting at police from a stolen car and fleeing to a nearby home in northeast Baltimore. 2 of those suspects are under 18, and police say both have previously been arrested for auto theft. In just over a week, state lawmakers will hold a hearing in Annapolis to talk about Maryland's juvenile crime crisis. It is not a special session, though, so it can't be used to enact new laws or change existing ones. And meanwhile, prosecutors across the state have been calling for change.
What we're realizing when we talk to young people is that young people, the juveniles, know there's nothing that we can do.
They know that, nothing's really going to happen to them if they keep their crime in a certain limit of types of crime.
They come in, we can't detain them. They're back in the community the next day. They get picked up for the second one. Can't detain them. They're back in the community again the next day.
The state's attorneys taking issue with 2 laws in particular. The Juvenile Justice Reform Act prevents children 13 and under from being charged with most crimes, and the Child Interrogation Act keeps police from questioning juveniles without a parent or an attorney present. Lawmakers had a chance to amend those laws during this legislative session, but didn't approve any changes.
Maryland Senator Joe Carter authored some of the legislation in question. She's standing by her laws. In a conversation with Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost, Carter said she doesn't think the laws are the main issue contributing to juvenile crime. City State's Attorney Ivan Bates disagrees.
I think that police and prosecutors need to be better educated if they're believing that they can't do anything, which I don't know why they would believe that.
There's nothing the law will allow us to do to hold them accountable, and they're doing whatever they want.
Well, Fox 45 News also sent questions to Governor Wes Moore's office last month, asking about what changes need to be made to hold juveniles accountable. In response, the governor's office sent us a statement saying the governor will continue to work with legislators and community leaders to bring solutions that provide real measures of accountability. That brings us to our question of the day: what would you like the governor to do about juvenile crime before the next legislative session? Listen to prosecutors or make no changes to current laws. So far, 95% of those who voted say listen to prosecutors. You can make your voice heard at foxbaltimore.com/vote.
Well, it was a violent Labor Day weekend in Baltimore. 7 shootings across the city have left 1 man dead and at least 4 others injured. On Saturday night, police responded to several shootings, including a deadly one at Norma Jean Strip Club on the block. Just before that shooting, Baltimore police They were investigating a shooting in Fells Point. Plus, police are still looking for the suspect who opened fire just outside a football game at Dunbar High School Friday night against Loyola Blakefield that injured a 12-year-old.
Instead of celebrating these young men and their athletic pursuits, we see violence and we see fans in panic.
And that game had Loyola Blakefield, a private Catholic school in Towson, in the city to play Dunbar. And now some are questioning if Friday's shooting could keep people away from Baltimore. Fox 45's Amy Simpson joins us live now from police headquarters with a closer look at this. Lots of folks talking about this one, Amy.
Yeah, Mary, so police have yet to release a suspect description after that shooting Friday night, but just hours after it happened, Baltimore City Mayor Brandon Scott was already confident this was another case of an illegal gun being used to carry out crime in the city. Gunshots outside of a high school football game Friday night, sending nearby student athletes, coaches, and fans scrambling.
It was still daylight, 7 o'clock. Private security gives chase to the suspect, but unfortunately he gets away.
Police said a 12-year-old boy was injured by that gunfire outside the game.
It's a beautiful night. Folks are going to be outside, and they should be able to do that without someone cowardly coming to shooting them.
But Baltimore's crime problem also boiled over into this unrelated youth sporting event. The chaos inside the stadium captured on a live stream of the game, being shared widely on social media. Thank God my daughter made it home safely. She loves her school and just wanted to support broad daylight, said one person. The kids can't even play football in peace, another chimed in. Everything about this is not normal, wrote City Councilman Isaac Yitzi Schleifer. It's not normal that families can't just enjoy watching their student athletes without fear of being killed. It's not normal that kids are killing other kids. It is not normal for these students to hear popping sounds and immediately know it's gunshots.
In some sense, it's nothing new. It's the same drumbeat. But sometimes we do have these crimes that are very visible, very impactful. This is one of those crimes that attracts a lot of attention.
A Baltimore economist weighing in.
Along with Loyola Blakefield players and coaches come alumni, friends, families, so on and so forth. Again, this interchange between city and county, which we all want. But instead of celebrating these young men and their athletic pursuits, we see violence and we see fans in panic.
Questioning how this case of gun violence in Baltimore City could have a ripple effect.
Other counties do not want to play against city teams in the city. Will this keep friends and family, alumni away from such games? And does this affect the attendance of other events in the city as well, not just those attendees that would attend a Friday night high school football game?
And at last check, that 12-year-old was expected to recover. We're live at police headquarters. Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
I just want to make a difference in our community.
Still ahead, new efforts to enforce term limits in Harford County. Why one county councilman argues they're necessary.
I'm Christine Frizzau on Capitol Hill with a look at what, if anything, to expect from your elected leaders once they return to Washington in the coming days.
Plus, it may technically be fall, but it's feeling so much like summer outside. Why some city schools will be closing early this week.
And tomorrow, our heat wave will continue as temperatures reach the upper 90s, 15 degrees above average. I'll let you know when we get a break from the heat and my full forecast.
Making headlines now, the U.S. government is set to run out of money on September 30th. That is, unless Congress passes a budget or a resolution to move the deadline a bit later. But there are multiple indications the fight is going to be a messy one, with a government shutdown growing more likely. National correspondent Christine Frizzell reports.
The quiet lull of Capitol Hill serving as a contrast for what to expect in the weeks to come.
If you look at all the information we've been able to gather so far, it is a natural step forward that you would have to go to an impeachment inquiry.
That impeachment inquiry into President Biden raising accusations GOP lawmakers are doing the bidding of former President Trump, who posted on social media, "Impeach the bum," adding, "They did it to us."
I will not vote to fund the government unless we have passed an impeachment inquiry on Joe Biden.
Speaking of spending, that top priority for lawmakers could already be stuck in quicksand. One of the most vocal members of the House Freedom Caucus providing us a preview before departing for August recess.
We control the power of the purse.
Texas Congressman Chip Roy imploring his Republican colleagues to use that power to try to get concrete changes made at the FBI, with social policies in the military, and to push forward a border bill passed along party lines in the House.
Or will we curl up in a little ball like we tend to do every single year and say, oh no, they're going to criticize us for a government shutdown?
In the Senate, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer already making clear in a letter to his colleagues, quote, House Republican extremists will be to blame for forcing a government shutdown, a prospect some warn is already weighing on American business owners.
They are worried. They're very worried. What businesses need to be successful is predictability. You know, predictability, some semblance of, regular order.
Regular order not predicted to be widely present on Capitol Hill.
We have one bill out of 12 completed because extremists are holding your conference hostage.
The hostage taking and finger pointing, though, expected in full force. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
Well, a few Baltimore City public schools will close early tomorrow and Wednesday because of the extreme heat and a lack of air conditioning. Now, 11 schools are impacted. The school system was supposed to have air conditioning installed in all schools by the start of the school year. Now they say they will have AC by the end of this school year. Well, let's go right to meteorologist Jasmine Lomax tracking these temperatures for us. Jasmine.
Thanks, Mary. It has been a very, very hot day. Yesterday was hot. Today we had even higher temperatures, and still at this time, 99 over downtown Baltimore. We've got mostly cloudy skies. It feels a little more like 100, and we've got more heat on the way. Across the state, we're mainly seeing the upper 90s, 100 right now in Frederick. We actually hit a high of 100 over downtown, making this the hottest day of the year so far. Overnight, not much relief from the heat as temperatures drop to the 70s. Then by the afternoon, it's back to those hot temperatures as we once again are looking at the upper 90s and possibly the triple digits for some locations. Now we're nice and dry, not much happening around our region. We've got high pressure to our south, and that's been keeping us dry. It's giving us plenty of sunshine, and it'll remain in place over the next few days. So overnight, we'll wake up to plenty of sunshine. Then as we head into the afternoon, few more clouds as those temperatures reach the upper 90s. Then we'll stay nice and dry as we move forward into Wednesday morning. But by the afternoon, get ready for more hot temperatures. We could be looking at record highs once again tomorrow and again on Wednesday as we look at the upper 90s and the low 100s. It's not until Thursday, as a cold front enters the region, when we see the next chance for rain along with slightly lower temperatures. Rain chances will increase as we get towards Saturday. Then for Sunday, still talking scattered showers and storms. Will be mostly dry for the following Monday. 77 for the low overnight with mostly clear skies. Then tomorrow we are talking plenty of sunshine, but another very hot day as temperatures reached 99 over the Baltimore area. This is followed by another day with extremely high temperatures, so make sure that you are practicing heat safety. Stay hydrated and drink plenty of water. Wear loose and light colored clothing. Try to take breaks in the shade or AC and check in on neighbors and pets. 99 on Wednesday, then the mid-90s on Thursday as we get ready for the cold front. 90 on Friday, then finally the 80s over the weekend and into next week. Mary?
Jasmine, thank you. Well, President Biden was in Philadelphia on Labor Day morning. Biden attended the annual Tri-State Labor Day parade in the city and later spoke to the crowd. President Biden told people that he's the most pro-union president in U.S. history and that America needs to continue to create good-paying jobs.
Folks, in this Labor Day, let me tell you what we're celebrating. We're celebrating jobs, good-paying jobs, jobs you can raise a family on, union jobs.
President Biden said the U.S. has added just over 13 million jobs since he took office in January of 2021. Well, still ahead tonight, the search continues for the person who murdered a Harford County woman on a popular walking trail. The lingering questions as the killer remains at large. Plus, a new social media app making the rounds. A closer look at the Saturn app and what parents should be on the lookout for. Well, developing tonight, students across the nation are back in the classroom, and there are some new apps becoming more popular to make socializing easier. Fox 45's Patrice Sanders has more details on the Saturn app and what parents need to be on the lookout for.
Students in this day and age use social media to connect with their friends. A new platform called the Saturn app is gaining popularity, but it is also raising some privacy and safety concerns that parents should be aware of. The Saturn app allows kids to put their class schedules in to see who else is in their class. Kelly Truex, Community Outreach Coordinator for GBMC's Safe and Domestic Violence Program, says making all your information available opens the door for all types of predators.
It does urge the students to link their Snapchat accounts, their camera rolls, their Instagram accounts, and even their Venmo, which can open up so many problems for students within schools. Once you're actually verified through the app, you see the entire school bell schedule, as well as any assemblies or events that are going on at the school, which could also pose a danger as well.
So what do parents do to keep their kids safe?
First, parents need to educate themselves about those apps once again, and then they really need to sit down and they need to start having open, honest conversations about, what their child is doing, what they're doing on the internet, why they're using it, why it's helpful. Need to really look into the app and see what are the harmful things that they could be accessing on those apps as well. I think it's really important to talk to your children and know that, hey, if you can't talk to me, are there at least 2 other people in your life that if something were to happen or someone started to threaten you on the internet, are there 2 people in your life that you can go to that you would feel comfortable going to for help?
She says that any platform that has a chat feature is a potential safety risk, and parents need to stay on top of what their kids are doing, who can see their information, and who they're talking to. Patrice Sanders, Fox 45 News.
Well, coming up after the break, the search continues for the murderer of a Harford County woman. The latest details in the investigation. Plus, the fight to get justice for sexual abuse survivors continues, how the state is holding predators accountable.
It's an issue that's certain to have a major impact on this election season. So where do candidates stand on abortion? I'm Scott Thuman in Washington with a look at why it isn't always so easy to find out.
The investigation into the murder of 37-year-old Rachel Marin will reach its 1-month mark on Tuesday.
Yeah, that prolonged search for a suspect now prompting some to question when the case could be considered cold.
Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor has the latest on the investigation.
Yeah, there's still more questions than answers concerning the mysterious murder of Rachel Marin, despite 2 weeks ago, police announcing that they had found DNA evidence from the suspect that linked him to prior crimes. Tonight, the search for that suspect still dragging on.
This DNA evidence has come back as a match.
More than 2 weeks ago, the latest update from the Harford County Sheriff's Office pointing to a potential suspect.
We don't have any clue where he could be.
But so far, this surveillance video of a man taken clear across the country with his back turned and his face out of view hasn't led to an arrest. In fact,
we know nothing more about him other than he was in LA and committed that crime in March, and he was here in August and is the murderer, we believe to be the murderer of Rachel Morin.
It's causing some Bel Air residents to question.
This is horrific, shocking.
If Rachel Morin's case has the potential to go cold.
I worry very much that the perpetrator of this act, this heinous act, is still out there.
I think everybody's awaiting answers. Yeah, I mean, it's a hot topic around town.
Growing more desperate as the investigation continues to drag, Morin's sister Rebecca taking to social media, writing, quote, "If this person is not identified soon, he will do it again." And in another post, she's requesting the community's help distributing these flyers with a description of the crime and a picture of the alleged perpetrator displayed. Meanwhile,
I've seen the patrols go up and down, and they're very regular.
Law enforcement continue to keep a close eye on the Ma and Pa Trail.
I think of Bel Air as a close-knit community.
As the mother of five's mysterious murder reaches its 1 month mark.
That sense of community, that sense of safety has been shattered.
In that time, the sheriff's office says they've been working around the clock, sorting through more than 500 tips, and they're far from taking their foot off the gas. In a statement, a spokesperson for the sheriff's office writing in part, quote, "This case is far from cold. There are still leads being pursued and technological evidence still being processed." They're also calling on the community to keep the tips coming in, going on to say, quote, "No matter how insignificant they feel the information they have might be, it could be the piece of information that unlocks the case."
I would expect the authorities would do everything humanly possible to try to restore that sense of community.
These investigations take time. You know, it's better to do everything right and get everything correct before we make the wrong decisions.
And the reward for anyone with any information that could lead to an arrest in this case has recently been bumped up to $10,000. If you would like to leave a tip for investigators, you can find their tip email in this story on our website at foxbaltimore.com. In Harford County, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Taking a look at headlines right now across the state. In Howard County, 11 of the 20 bus routes that were suspended last week will be restored tomorrow. Last week, 20 bus routes were canceled Monday night. Parents didn't find out until 11 p.m. The county says a new out-of-state bus company didn't have enough drivers to cover the routes. The superintendent of schools says the school system is working with contractors to get the remaining 9 routes up and running.
In Anne Arundel County, police are investigating a smash and grab at a store in Linthicum. Happened around 3 o'clock this morning on Elkridge Landing Road. When police got there, they found the front door of the business was smashed. The suspects then took the ATM. Police are asking anybody with information to contact them directly at the number on the bottom of your screen.
The Baltimore City Police are investigating an arson in West Baltimore. 3 cars were caught on fire early this morning on Cocoa Lane and Clifton Street. No injuries have been reported. The incidents are being investigated as arson.
Well, in Harford County, Councilman Aaron Penman is hoping to limit how long county leaders can stay in office. But he will have to get term limits on the ballot first, an effort that began Saturday at a petition drive at Hopkins Farm Brewery. Penman believes public office should be a calling, not a career.
It should be a civic responsibility, and that's what I'm hoping these term limits bring to Harford County. Right now, what we have on the county charter is for the county executive has term limits. So he has 2 terms. He can take 1 term off and come back for 2 more terms. I want to apply that same logic to the county council.
Penman will need to collect 10,000 signatures by June to put term limits on the ballot for voters in 2024.
In Baltimore City, voters overwhelmingly supported implementing term limits for leaders on Election Day in 2022. Voting for independence and accountability. Question K was approved by more than 70% of voters in the city. Under the plan, the mayor, comptroller, city council president, and city council members will now be limited to 2 terms over a 12-year period.
A major grocery store chain is pulling some products off store shelves in some Washington, D.C. locations because of a spike in thefts. While Giant says it does not plan to close any of its stores at this time, it is taking precautions to prevent crimes. Sam Ford with our Sinclair sister station in D.C. explains.
Giant Food has complained to D.C. officials that it is losing $500,000 in theft in just this one store. If you talk to many Giant customers,
if people stealing, how they gonna make a profit?
I hope we still keep our Giant.
With Giant complaining that theft is worse at this Alabama Avenue store than anywhere else, the corporation announced Giant-trained asset protection associates will be stationed at store entrances to greet customers as they arrive and check receipts as they exit. Also, they're going to stop selling national brands like Tide detergent or other health and beauty items and just sell Giant's own store brands. This video from a Northeast D.C. Giant last year shows how thieves have hit shelves, mass thefts, items thrown in carts, and they walk out. We heard a few complaints among customers today.
Hey, they got to do more security and start watching people. But as far as checking receipts, they're going to hold up everybody going in and out the store.
But more support.
I understand why they're doing what they're doing, and it's sad that they're doing that, you know. But if that's what they have to do in order to keep our Giant safe and in our neighborhood, I bring it on.
More of the statement: we need to be able to run our stores safely and profitably, and we take these responsibilities seriously. The implication is that unless the theft here decreases significantly, that Giant is going to close this store. Or as the statement put it, the level of theft of product has become unsustainable for our business. Reporting for Fox 45, I'm Sam Ford in Washington.
Well, D.C. not the only city seeing major companies pack up and leave. Here at home, a spokesperson for Giant Foods has admitted that theft and violence have caused some longtime supermarket chains to debate whether it should close their doors. And back in July, Lidl supermarket in Brooklyn Park closed its doors after 3 years. The company never indicated why the closure was happening, but insiders tell Fox 45 News the level of theft was a major factor. According to a member of the Maryland Retailers Association, Maryland is one of the top 5 states in the nation with the highest retail thefts.
A legal fight in Maryland and across the country over how long is too long to report child sexual abuse. From Catholic churches to Olympic doctors, the U.S. is in a battle for privacy rights, and October 1st is a date for survivors. Fox 45's Tom Rogers reports.
After decades of abuse within the Catholic Church and the major scandal with Olympic gymnast Dr. Larry Nassar, hundreds have come forward with their own sex abuse stories. But many states have a statute of limitations stopping any punishment of the perpetrator. October 1st, Maryland will lift the statute of limitations for child sex abuse survivors. One major international advocate is happy to see Maryland lead the way, as she herself is a survivor and faced Nassar in court. Sarah Klein is an attorney, a gymnast, and says most importantly, she's a fighter against child abuse.
Well, Maryland has done an amazing thing, which is to eliminate the statute of limitations for victims of child sex abuse to come forward, name their abuser in a court of law, and seek justice. And it's really something remarkable. Not many states have done something like this. It's a fight, but statute of limitations are archaic, and they protect perpetrators. And so in April, the Attorney General of Maryland came forth with a report about clergy sex abuse in the state and naming all sorts of perpetrators, and not only just the perpetrators, but the cover-up that ensued. And so we're here
and
saying—
a lot argue that is the worst part, the cover-up that many even argue today is still going on.
Absolutely. And so survivors in the state of Maryland, whether you were abused 20 years ago, 40 years ago, or yesterday, now have an unlimited amount of time to come forward, name their abuser, and seek access to the courts.
Well, Klein says the average age to report child sex abuse is 52 years old, meaning they've been carrying this weight for decades. She reminds everyone who was abused to speak up now because you are not alone. Tom Rogers, Fox 45 News.
Developing right now, Rehoboth Beach police have found the body of a man they say went missing while swimming. Police say Richard Boateng of Savage, Maryland, went missing just before 6 o'clock last night. His body was found this morning. It's not clear what happened. The Coast Guard issued a warning Friday about high surf and strong rip currents.
Making headlines tonight, this presidential campaign will have a much different feel than 50 years of previous elections. That's because it is the first since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Until then, it had been the country's landmark abortion legislation, keeping abortion access legal. So how will that affect voters who choose in 2024? Sinclair's chief political correspondent Scott Thuman shows us why voters have plenty to sort out.
On the campaign trail, few subjects can separate candidates as much as the debate over abortion. And on the right, conservatives often clamor for a hardline approach, while a majority of Democrats want that decision left to the mother, not Washington. Though where they stand on the true wedge issue not always so clear, including at the recent Republican debate.
A 15-week ban is an idea whose time has come.
When it comes to a federal ban, let's find consensus.
Wisconsin is going to do it different than Texas. I understand Iowa and New Hampshire are going to do different.
Anti-abortion groups argue candidates need to be more